But then the arc is that he eventually realizes, I have to do this myself.
That's a great read, Sam.
Just like I fucking said at the beginning of the movie, I need to take care of myself, and that's why I think this movie's anti-socialism.
I knew it was going to get there eventually. I knew something was coming. Greetings, friends. Welcome back to the Messed Up Movies Podcast, the podcast celebrating movies and filmmakers that embrace the insane, the unhinged, the outrageous, the off-kilter, and the all-around kind of messed up fun you can't take your eyes off of. Welcome back to another New Movie Monday, joined by Heath,
hey.
Super producer Heath, you'll recognize, and our dear friend, fellow misfit, Sam Price. Welcome.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Slam.
Sam's done a lot of episodes if you go in the back catalog, if you like Sam's interesting takes on movies. He's got a lot of interesting hot takes on movies that you can go find in the back catalog. So we're here today. But before that, a little business. Make sure you go to the Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon. Best way to support the show. Black Mirror is returning in April. We have a Black Mirror miniseries, Tales from the Crypt miniseries, exclusive episodes, lots of good stuff over there. Subscribe to the YouTube so you can see video versions of all this. That helps us out a ton. We're on all the socials you're on. But most importantly, please send the show or a clip or a TikTok reel, whatever the hell people are doing today, to a friend who likes movies. Let them know what we're working on. Right? We're going to grassroots this, Bernie style. That's my new pitch.
Takes a village.
We're trying to become the Bernie of podcasts. Sam's more of an Elon guy, but that's fine. No, I'm just kidding. You can't say that anymore.
Oh,
that turned, yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, never mind. Strike that. Erase it from the record.
He's not cool anymore.
Are we doing the new season of Black Mirror?
We are. As soon as it drops. April 10th.
Yeah.
New season. It looks awesome. We're here today, though, to discuss The Rule of Jenny Penn. I've got it right here. Directed by James Ashcroft. Starring Geoffrey Rush and John Lithgow, which is just an insane cast for a Shudder movie. And here's the brief synopsis. Confined to a secluded rest home and trapped within his stroke-ridden body, a former judge must stop an elderly psychopath who employs a children's support puppet to abuse the home's residents with deadly consequences. So let's just start up top. Sam, I'll kick this to you. What did you think of The Rule of Jenny Penn?
I thought it was good, and I can't think of a reason why anyone wouldn't like this movie.
Yeah, you know what's weird? Since we started this Messed Up Movies podcast, I feel like we've had a pretty bad track record with liking the New Movie Mondays, which is hard for us. We want to talk about movies we like. I think other than Companion, this is the home run horror movie of the year so far. I think this movie, because this is the thing, this is actually terrifying to me. Like, this is all of my worst nightmares come true.
I don't see this playing with a younger crowd at all.
Well, I do think there's something about us all hitting near our midlife crisis where it hits a little closer to home.
Right.
But you don't think young people can imagine, like, holy shit, someday that'll be me?
I just think...
Someday I'll be licking assholes and
No, I think
out?
it's so remote. I think it's got to be... I'm thinking back to when I was in high school. Would I have given a shit? I don't think so.
It's like a middle-aged guy movie.
Because we're not. Yeah, because you can't. Also, though, my parents saw it. They liked it because they're also old.
Yeah.
And so for them, I think they're like, Jesus Christ, I got to be nicer to the kids so I don't end up in a home.
See, I was wondering about that. If maybe this wouldn't land with the older people because it's too real.
Too real.
Yeah.
Too real. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do Vietnam veterans just want to watch Apocalypse Now all the time, or they're just like, God damn, that's going to trigger something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I was thinking. Nobody.
We are in the sweet spot for this movie for sure.
Yeah.
But I think this movie just crushes. And again, the cast it has, it's unbelievable. It's so well put together. But again, I wanted to start here. This movie made me ask a question that I don't really know why. Why don't we get more old people horror movies? Because here's the two things it's got going for it. One, it's absolutely terrifying because it's coming for all of us. And two, you can get incredible actors that's phones aren't blowing up off the hook. Like Christopher Walken just said, he's not getting offers anymore. Why not make an old person horror movie with Christopher fucking Walken? Like, why do we not get more old people horror movies?
I think it's the cynical nature of the business because it's all directed toward younger people.
Well, the demographic for horror usually is teenagers to like 40-year-old men, right?
But horror is taking over.
You want the tits, you want all this other stuff.
I think there's room for it. I think horror is becoming the most stable genre. Best bet that there is if you're going out to make a movie. Now, that doesn't mean that every single one crushes. Right. But, I mean, batting average is high these days for horror films.
They're not going to, fucking flop their budgets as bad as something like The Electric State. If you make a $5 million and down horror movie most of those seem to exceed that limit.
I saw a stat the other day that said, and who knows what the validity of it is. I think I saw it on Twitter, so take it with a grain of salt.
So probably zero.
Probably zero. No, dude. Whatever comes out of Twitter is obviously.
We don't know what they're listening to anymore, guys. Be cool.
It's X, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
X.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Sorry. Man,
anyway, the stat was 1 in 8 films are horror now.
That's
1 in 8.
Well, that kind of makes sense though, because there's only like 8 genres.
But remember,
but here's the other thing: what's the genre where people still are probably most willing to go to the movies? Horror movies,
superhero,
like a lot of action movies, stuff like that. I'm not that interested in going anymore. I'll always go see a new horror movie because my theory with horror has always been it's like pizza, right?
Yeah, but you're a fucked up dude, you know.
Well, that's
we're talking about normal people.
Insane.
We're trying to make money. So,
but I think that shows the popularity of the genre now.
But that's what I'm saying. And also,
it used to be a ghetto
ride. Like the worst horror movie is still worth your ticket price. Whereas like a bad drama that doesn't hit is
it's just significantly
egregious.
More boring.
Yeah, it just sucks. At least in a bad horror movie, you're gonna get a kill, an interesting, scary idea. You might get scared. Your girlfriend's curling up. That's for the younger guys, not us. But you
know what I think it comes down to, man, is movies cost millions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
Are you gonna put millions of dollars in the hands of an old fucker?
Yeah, I think it's the most stable bet. You get these old, awesome directors.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say fucker, but not to sound rude, but like an old person.
Well, in this movie, it seems like John Lithgow's getting around, dude.
The thing is,
getting
like,
licked the whole movie.
Once you get to a certain age, you just can't walk. You can't perform as well. So, like, you need to have the set.
This movie is proving that wrong.
No, I'm just. Oh, I mean, perform physically.
Physically,
yeah.
Okay.
So, like, it totally negates like this entire spectrum of filmmaking if you put old people in the movie.
Well, see, this is what I think it does, right? A lot of what we're trying to do as indie horror movie guys, right? The thing everyone's always hunting for is the contained one location, awesome script. They want
That's what you need for this.
Yeah, for cost-cutting measures, right? Mm-hmm. A nursing home is the perfect fucking setting for a horror movie. The abuses, it's body horror, it's loss of self. Then you just throw in someone, and just because he can walk, he's Freddy Krueger.
Here's my thing, though,
terrifying.
Man. You know how much it costs to stay at a nursing home? A lot. A lot. How much does it cost to rent one to shoot at? Probably a lot.
Probably a lot. Yeah, that's a good point.
So, like,
but I just was watching this, and I was like, man, there are so many incredible actors who are starting to like age out of getting the call all the time.
Yeah.
John Lithgow was just up for a Best Actor supporting role, right? And he was featured in the broadcast as the disappointed John Lithgow. And like 2 weeks later, you're watching him in a fucking Shudder movie.
The thing is, you still have to pay. So, okay, not to be devil's advocate, but to be devil's advocate, there are a bunch of people aging into acting, too, at the exact same time. So the question is, do you want to pay Geoffrey Rush a shitload of money? Or would you want to just discover the next star? And
yeah,
I think
what's the chances of that?
Yeah, but I mean, someone discovers everybody. So,
well,
good.
You got me there. That's not fucking math. That's not how math works.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, someone is banging a 10 somewhere. That doesn't mean my chances of banging a 10 are any better.
Yeah, but if you're banging Geoffrey Rush, there's no chances of you banging a 10. So why?
Maybe I think Geoffrey Rush is a fucking 10. So maybe a paradox.
Well, that's what I'm saying about you being weird.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So it makes sense to you.
I think it makes sense because you look at just moments in this movie of the old people just unable to move, trapped. Yeah. The whole movie you're sitting there screaming, where the fuck is the staff? Right? Like, who's protecting these people?
I think that's how it really is.
It's fucking horrifying.
I think it's a mixture. I think it's partially... Do you want to go over the plot of the movie at all, or are we just jumping into...
Yeah, no, the plan on a podcast is to talk about the movie. Go ahead, just bring up whatever you'd like.
I think it's partially, like, what Heath's saying, like, yeah, that's how it really is, or that's at least how it feels a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. Because the simple fact of the matter is, if you're in a place like that, there's not going to be someone looking at you 24 hours a day. But it doesn't mean you're not
Could they try, like, 6 hours?
Yeah.
How many...
See, that's where I think the movie takes a liberty, like, in the sense that, like, they're not completely abandoned, but the movie makes it feel like they are.
Well, I think that's part of the horror of aging, too, is you get put in these homes because you are a burden. People don't want you around and have to deal with you all the time.
And even if you're not
abandoned, in
abandoned,
these places, you are forgotten, man.
Well, but even if you're not forgotten, in your mind, you may feel like you're forgotten, even though there are.
If your kids come to see you once a week, that's still 6 days a week. You feel tossed out.
And these places are terribly understaffed.
Oh,
I mean,
for sure.
the staff at these facilities are stretched so thin.
Yeah.
They're running ragged all over the place. They can barely get a break.
Yeah.
And especially when you're getting into the later hours, I don't think they're staffed as well, because who's coming into work third shift?
Yeah. Well, there also is like a real, like, we got to figure out a better lock situation. I know we have a lot of problems in the world, but this was insane. The freedom John Lithgow had to run around and
keep in mind,
wild with these people.
So it is revealed, this is very much jumping ahead, and spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers for the whole movie if you haven't seen it. Yeah.
He was a former staff, so he knows all the tricks.
He knew all the tricks, right. That kind of explains away some of it. He probably knew the schedules of the guards and all that shit.
Here's my question, though. Is this an American movie or is this a New Zealand movie?
It's New Zealand.
It's set in New Zealand.
Okay,
yeah.
so we probably should think of it, like, did you do any research on, like, their healthcare?
No.
Okay.
No, dude, I don't have time to keep up with current actual
We're
news
thinking of this from an American perspective where it's like super understaffed here. Like we've all visited people.
I just assume everywhere else has better healthcare, so they're going to like
I assume everywhere else does too, especially New Zealand.
New Zealand's got like fucking, 5,000 people and a couple sheep? Like that should be all right.
I think it's like 35,000.
Maybe everyone's just working at Lord of the Rings reenactment places, and so there's
that was their entire
staffers.
economy, and now it's gone. So they're basically, I mean, it just seems like it's not even. It doesn't even really seem like a real nursing home.
But how much of a hang-up is that for you in the story?
No, that's not a hang-up for me at all, because you're so captivated by what's happening at all times in the movie.
Yeah. But
But it is one of those, it's again, I think that's the beautiful thing of the horror of the elderly, is you're just like someone, like the whole movie, you're just begging for someone to come in and help. And Geoffrey Rush is constantly telling them what's happening, and no one will even let him finish sentences. Because they think he's just a grumpy old dude, right? And the movie jumps off, right? Geoffrey Rush, it starts in a courtroom. And he's like this very accomplished, powerful judge, right?
And a real prick.
Right? He's like waiting to do his Geoffrey Rush monologue about how the mom whose kid got killed, it seems like, is also victimizing the kid. Like, he's ready to be a real dickhead.
Yeah.
But in the scene, he's starting to have these blips. He can't focus. His memory's going. Like, sights and sounds are shifting, right? They do some of that De Palma, like, split diopter in the courtroom scene. So it's just the whole reality of that scene is shifting around us, too.
Really great scene.
It's beautiful scene.
Wonderful
And
opening.
at the end, he fucking passes out.
And you see it coming a mile away.
Yeah.
But he sells it so well. And I love the characterization in the beginning of just what a true asshole he is. Just because he's a judge and he is used to grandstanding and letting everyone know exactly how he feels.
It's literally the job description.
I felt the total opposite.
Here we go. Hot takes. You're pro judge, condescending judge.
So I don't think that scene was intended for us to think that Geoffrey Rush was I mean, he was an asshole, right?
Right.
But I think that entire speech he gave at the beginning of that movie is the theme of the movie.
Oh,
okay.
Explain.
And so the speech that he gave to the lady
you're
was her child was being molested. And she was saying, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh my God, is that what was happening?
Yeah, that's right.
Fucking hell.
Her child was being molested, and she
Right.
was saying, thank you, thank you, thank you for doling out the punishment for this horrible guy.
Right.
And Geoffrey Rush says, I don't want your thanks. This is your problem. This is your fault.
Yeah.
Because you should have been responsible for your child. You should have done it. You should have taken care of the problem, not me. It shouldn't have ever
Like straw dogs?
It
She
shouldn't have
gotten
ever
his
got
ass.
to this point to where you needed the law to come in and help you. And I think that is the point of the movie, is you cannot rely on other people to save you.
I feel like that's a fucking stupid thing for a judge to say, because isn't every case that gets to them, you could say like, hey man, you should have done better and figured this out.
I know, but think about it, man. A guy that's 88 years old or whatever, at the
Right.
end of his rope, he's heard these cases thousands
That's
of
true.
times.
He's
and
just
he's at
over
the
it.
point where
Yeah.
he's like, you need to fucking stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
You need to do
He's sick of
you need to
seeing the
protect
bad
yourself.
stuff, yeah.
All the sympathies just beat.
So then when he gets to the nurse,
okay, I like this.
so then when he gets to the nursing home, right, the entire thing is reversed, and now he needs help from someone. He cannot protect himself.
I do dig that.
But then the arc is that he eventually realizes, I have to do this myself.
That's a great read, Sam.
Just like I fucking said at the beginning of the movie, I need to take care of myself, and that's why I think this movie's anti-socialism.
I knew it was going to get there eventually. I knew something was coming.
I think if you boil it down,
I just thought it was anti-puppet.
no, this is one theory, but I think it's you should not rely on the government to save you. You should rely on yourself.
I hear that
To save
No,
yourself.
that tracks.
I think we're living in a terrifying reality where we're starting to realize government's not going to help us ever again, and that we are kind of all on our own. That is another kind of terror. Again, I was kind of looking at it, I guess I was so assaulted by the kind of mechanics of the filmmaking that I felt that's what I sunk into most in this constantly, is that here's a really powerful guy who did everything right. It doesn't fucking matter. Like,
exactly.
it's coming for you eventually, right? Like, so this guy who's of high mind, he's always carrying around leather-bound editions and shit.
Yeah, and he's always quoting,
like this,
Hemingway and all these.
And at the end, he's just in here with this guy who was a security guard, and that's Lithgow's kind of theory of the case, is that I was a nobody, but now because I can walk, right, I am the powerful. And his whole game of the movie is he wants to get kind of karmic societal retribution on this powerful judge, because a lot of the movie is him tormenting others.
It's his last chance.
And just making the judge watch it.
Right.
He wants to break the judge, not physically torture the judge as much. Mm-hmm. And so I do think those two, I see what you're saying. It makes sense. I guess for me, I was just sinking in on the...
See, that speech resounded with me. Like, I realized, this guy's an asshole, right? But I kind of like his point of view.
Yeah, that's a great read.
I kind of really like his point of view, that this lady, like, he doesn't care about her, like, her gratitude.
It's cool that you picked up on that.
He's not doing it for her,
because, I realized what he was saying, but again, I read it as, well, this guy is just a condescending prick.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was maybe because you knew that you're waiting for it. When is he going to have his stroke? When is he going to pass out?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing that you're reading and keying in on. So you could miss that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Sam didn't.
Sam didn't.
Sam was on it.
Well, Sam's always on the sniff for socialist outcropping.
Well, that's what in my head I was like, you know what, this guy's fucking right, you know? So why didn't she, like, do something? Why didn't she just kill her husband, you know?
Yeah. Is that who it was?
Husband?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
I missed that too.
They do. That's fucking wild.
Yeah,
so
dude.
there's like another wild ass movie
may be wrong
buried in
about
the midst of it. Yeah. That's the other disclaimer. We have not researched.
I didn't pay that
enough to know.
much attention.
Yeah.
Well,
He was
then
too busy catching themes.
The following
Not bad
scene
guys.
is a banger too. The next scene is
What's
great.
the next scene? I
The
forget.
guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah. So he goes outside,
yes.
and Geoffrey Rush is pretty much like.
So he's in the facility.
So yeah, he teleports
goes
to the
the
facility.
nursing home. He's in a wheelchair, and he's pretty much like, I might as well start ripping darts. It's all downhill from here. This old timer who's like in raggedy shape gives him a smoke, and Geoffrey Rush like rolls out to like survey the land, and the dude behind him just, I guess, falls asleep with his smoke and just gets caught on fire.
Caught on fire. You have this great shot of Geoffrey Rush, the flames in the foreground, and he's screaming.
Yeah.
It's like true horror scene.
So I was surprised how many people on my letterbox are like, I was kind of surprised this is Shudder. I didn't think there was a lot of horror in this movie, and I was like, every scene of this movie had my skin crawling.
It's dread.
It's a different.
It's terrifying.
It's like a 70s style horror, you know,
Yeah.
kind of like Don't Look Now,
Yes.
or something like that.
Dude, just the inability to... Because so many horror movies, right? They have the trope of the final girl. It's someone who's going to come into action, be this noble white knight character, who's going to save the day and slay the monster. What do you do if you can't fucking move? What do you do if you can't fucking remember where you are? Like, he keeps having blips, right?
Yeah.
Where he's just like, what's happening? Where? What? Like, I think every scene, I think you hit the right word, dread. Like, this is pure...
It's all dread, yeah.
Dread. Like, at one point, I was like, I didn't even have to go to the bathroom that bad. I was like, I'm just going to go pee. Because I would like to have fucking 2 minutes to not be fucking soaked in the absolute fucking terror of this movie.
Yeah. My grandmother was just in a facility, and she didn't last long. And I was there to visit, and I got to tell you, I mean, it was hitting hard.
Yeah.
Because a lot of that stuff is how it felt. And to get to that place where you just have no control and you're totally reliant on, these strangers that are hired. And by virtue of the job, they have to get through their day. And your wife is a nurse. I'm sure that she understands this as good as anyone. That you have to do your job.
Well, there has to be some detachment. Like, you can't treat everyone like they're your grandpa, right? Because they're not all going to be there for a long time, right? And you can't really help one guy and not the other. Although the movie does seem like they favor Lithgow a lot more. Maybe because he was, like, in the club.
Yeah.
At one point when they started, he was, like, the nice little codger.
So what I got from that is Lithgow's a master manipulator in that movie. In the sense that whenever he's talking to any of the staff, he doesn't speak.
Yeah, he kind of
mumbles a little bit, and then he looks at him with his like blue eyes, and they're like, "Oh, he's just
got some like
he'll raise the doll
eyes
up.
and janky teeth."
I think he honestly hides behind the doll, and they were just like, "Oh, that's cute."
Can we lock in on this for a sec? What did you guys make of the doll? Besides just being like a cool prop,
it's a great device
that then becomes like a kind of more art house element throughout. What was the fucking doll about? Like, because it feels like it was one of those things in the movie that was just added for like the poster. Like I didn't feel like I was picking up a ton of thematic stuff.
I don't think you really needed the doll other than for the cool title. But
Well, I was thinking at the end, it kind of started hearkening to me. I was like, is there some kind of crime that he used to do? Right? And he had like, maybe he was like a serial killer with like little girls or something. And this is like him still reliving that. But because
I don't know that there's any evidence for that.
yeah.
Well, he kind of does this, like he goes into this extra room and he's very nostalgic for the past.
Yeah.
Maybe
So to
that's
me, I was
all
like,
it is.
the doll has to be something involved with that,
Well,
right?
he does sing the song, right? So he goes out into the like community area and he plays the song, which is the Jenny Penn song.
Yeah.
And it's obviously from his childhood or something.
And he does the dance.
So it's probably what you're saying. It's just a way for him to feel young again.
There was some kind of trauma associated with someone named Jenny Penn.
And I think they really do use dolls for like old people to help.
Well, they
them.
do. So there is a scene where the I don't know, the
the
therapist,
rehabilitation
they
therapist,
hand Geoffrey Rush
a puppet thing.
a puppet pamphlet.
Okay, so what I thought we were going to was a Godzilla versus Kong style puppet battle. Like I thought Geoffrey Rush was going to have a puppet too.
That would have been good.
This is Penny Jen. And they're going to like battle. But like he obviously is too cool to fucking sink to the level of the puppet. But I kept wanting like maybe one scene. If it had like one thing I wanted more of, that was it. I wanted a little bit more on Lithgow's kind of dynamics in it. I don't know that it took away from the movie not knowing.
Did he ever seem... I guess there was one scene that I'm sort of thinking of, but was he ever overly reliant on the puppet? Was there an emotional connection between him and the puppet?
Whenever the nurses talked to him, he would, or whenever people would talk to him, he would talk through the puppet.
But that was just part of the grift, I feel like.
Well, there were
I don't know
he
if it was
talked
part
to
of
the
it.
judge in his man voice. Right? So like when he was torturing people, you saw some of the real Lithgow coming out.
That's true, yeah.
And so for me, I was like, I would have been interested, because I think the movie's so well thought out. I would have just been interested to know what they were thinking. Right? Because it is just a cool device. Because when we see him start torturing Geoffrey Rush's roommate, and there's this thing where he makes everyone lick his wrist right below the doll, and you're like, oh God, like just the old flesh meeting. It's hard to watch. Then we find out later, he specifically is like, lick her asshole. And so what it is, he's making everyone lick Jenny Penn's asshole.
Right, it's a power move.
Well,
she's getting around the whole facility.
So that's the other theme of the movie.
That's something young people will latch on to.
The other theme of the movie I felt like was dealing with like ego and dignity. In a sense, like,
yes.
So the fact that like all he'd have to do is just succumb to this bully, right, and he'd be left alone.
Yeah.
But he won't do it because
Well, he says something. He says when there's no one around, the hyenas run rampant.
Yes.
Right? He has this thing he keeps coming
Yes.
back to.
Well,
They
that's-
keep showing nature documentaries.
that's the standing up for yourself part.
Well, there's that scene, where they're listening to hyenas, and he sees Lithgow, like, laughing, overly laughing. And the audio mixes with that image, right?
Yeah.
That he's some kind of, like, hyena scavenger.
It almost kind of ties in with the other movie we did a podcast on, Speak No Evil.
Yeah.
To where it's like,
Yes.
how far before you have that confrontation, you know?
Well,
like,
again-
life is so much easier if you had no ego.
Well,
life
and
would
your
be-
bu-
I think
your
that's
body-
the speak no evil thing is I think most people haven't been in a physical confrontation like that to the scale where you're like, oh shit, I might die. I think most people, like Speak No Evil, just write it out and hope they're in a bad dream.
to hope this isn't happening.
But that's what makes this movie extra horrifying, is that there's another layer that your own body is, defying you.
Mm-hmm.
And that loss of dignity is happening on a natural level. You can't trust your own body to perform the way that you've always known it to. Your mind is not there. So that dignity is slowly eroding when you are in this
Just
situation.
naturally, anyways.
Just
Oh, well,
naturally.
there's
and then
that
you add a
scene.
bully on top
Add
of
a
it.
bully.
Well,
Yeah.
we see Geoffrey Rush doing his like numbers, right? He's making words with blocks. He's drawing a clock. And he's like, child's play, I'm crushing it. And then they do that. They show us the reality where his clock numbers are all fucked
Yeah.
up.
That-
And so like Geoffrey Rush still thinks he's the same guy.
Yeah.
And he doesn't realize yet. So again, the movie's undercutting his own
That is
kind of mental integrity.
the most horrifying thing. That's my
Dude, I'm
greatest
telling
fear, is not being able to trust your own perception, your own mind, your own sense of what is real.
Dude, I'm already there, man.
Well,
It's
we're
probably
all
those
slowly
500
going.
milligram edibles you were eating in LA.
Yeah. They fucked me up.
Dude, we'd be going to a movie and you're like, oh, it's just a 250. And I'd be like, what, dude? I would be an actual zombie. And then you'd just be like, hey, man, why don't they wear biosuits and
it's
Annihilation?
actually like, once you get past that dread part, it's actually kind of uplifting.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's sort of
Because then nothing's
Wait,
actually
the
real.
movie or the edibles?
No, the not being able to trust your own perception.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm an unreliable narrator. Those movies are fun sometimes, yeah.
All right, before we get too far ahead, can we go back? I wanted to say something about that first scene.
Yeah.
The fire scene.
Oh, me too. Okay, go for it.
So I thought that did two things for the movie, and that was a great opening, even though it wasn't the
Such
actual
a good scene, yeah.
Yeah, the second.
It's kind of a new opening
the
for
opening
the nursing home
for
movie.
the rest of the movie, yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought that did two things. It basically solidified that he's not getting out of there because you see him almost having another fucking stroke.
Almost literally, it was showing that he's in hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it zooms in on his eyes and he's like twitching and he's like trying to say words and it's like obviously something is going on in his brain. He's not going to get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that signifies that. And then it also signifies that you're on your own because that guy's burning for several minutes and nobody notices.
See, that's what I'm talking about. There's way too many old people just left to their own devices. And again, that scene is telling us, like, that guy was just enjoying a cigarette. He just fell asleep.
And
like
the fact that it's an old folks home, I think that they're trying to double down on the point that throughout your whole life you're on your own, and then when you're old, when you think you've made
a
it,
500 milligram edible.
when you think you've made it and you think it's gonna be cushy, you're still on your fucking own, dude.
You know what's funny? When
No matter what.
When Lindsay and I lived in Brooklyn, we were in a brownstone, and it was like a co-op, and this old fucker that barely left his apartment lived right below us, and he smoked, and it was supposed to be a non-smoking facility, but he was grandfathered in. He'd been there for so long.
Once you hit a certain age, you're like, fucking send me letters.
They couldn't do anything about it.
I can't wait to be that age and just not.
He's just breathing into it.
He was a total shut-in, like one of the grumpiest bastards you'd ever encounter. But we would never leave our dog there. I mean, I remember there was one time that she realized that he was smoking, and it reminded her that he could just fall asleep in his chair and burn the whole building down.
Yeah.
And we had to cancel plans because it was like we had planned to go out on a date night, and we're like, we can't leave the dog.
Yeah, we might
the whole
come
building
home
might burn
and
down.
everything's up in ash.
Dude,
Jesus,
I think
Christ.
that's what started the whole theory of spontaneous combustion.
Just some old guy fell asleep.
I think it's almost always
some old villager's just like, dear God!
I think it's almost always old people.
That was possible. He's just like, oh shit!
He just caught on fire.
Just imagine being a guy coming back from like hoeing potatoes all day. You see a guy, you look back to your house, you look back, he's just like, what the fuck? Dude, there's no logs or anything.
Spontaneous.
Yeah, he just fucking caught fire. Dude, that would be the coolest way to find out about horrifying scientific reality. Is that even a reality? Can we just spontaneously combust?
No, that's what I'm saying. I think it's almost always a cigarette.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, almost always.
Damn.
It's just something about how
They just can't stop taking good things away from us. That's what I'm learning.
I think it's
today.
how our bodies burn. It's something weird about yeah.
Some of us are more kindling than others. As we get older and our skin's drier, we have more
I
body
honestly think
hair.
it's the fatter you are. Like the more it wicks like
Fuck,
a
I'm in
candle,
big trouble.
and you just burn it.
I'm like one of those fucking woodwick candles.
Fat burns, bro.
Well, you remember we used to do that in the dorm? We would run into someone's room, and you would light your armpit hair on fire and then put it out real quick. But it would make a fireball, like a pretty good fireball. And then the whole room would just smell like balls for like 2 days. And so it became this like horrifying. We had to do like a NATO style treaty. Like, guys, we've got to stop this. We're running out of armpit hair. The war has become too devastating. Like, people couldn't bring their girlfriends over anymore. Because if you had a girlfriend in your room, for sure someone was running in and lighting their armpit hair on fire. Jesus. So it is a scary reality. But back to the movie. What did you guys make of Geoffrey Rush's roommate, right? Because I thought this was an interesting device, too, because he was a national rugby star, right?
Right.
And the only thing I know about rugby players, they're tough as hell, right? He was a national hero who's also here with Geoffrey Rush, right? Two achieved guys. He was this, powerful athlete. John Lithgow just is pegged in on that guy.
Yeah.
Like, he wants to destroy that guy more than anyone else in the movie, right? Because pretty much we see Lithgow, he bumps some people out, he steals some people's food. he does some, like that one lady, he tries to undress her. That's horrifying.
He lets a couple people die.
Right, well, he definitely leads that lady out, knowing that she'll be in trouble. But this character, the rugby player, is the one who takes the full wrath throughout most of the movie. Why the rugby player?
And that's his kink, because
he was doing that before Geoffrey Rush showed up.
Yeah,
that was like his guy.
And it's the same motivation that he has to take Geoffrey Rush down a peg, too. He was never anyone in his younger days. And these titans of power, are finally in a vulnerable position, and he has the upper hand.
No one's bringing high school kids to see him to talk about being a guard.
Which brings me back to my point about it being anti-socialism, because none of those people should be in the same nursing home.
Have you been listening to a lot of Joe Rogan lately, or what's going on? Yeah, you're really on this anti-socialism.
No, I'm not anti-socialist. I'm saying the movie is.
Oh, you're super pro-socialist?
I'm not pro it, but I'm not anti it.
You're kind of an off-the-grid type.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. But yeah, I do think it is interesting, because again, Geoffrey Rush is this titan of like intellect. The other guy was this titan of kind of athletic prowess, right? Like an Adonis in his younger days. And I thought that scene, the one that really rocked me, was the scene when they bring the high school team in to talk to this guy, right?
Yeah, that was a good one.
And he can't stop looking at John Lithgow. So instead of reliving the glory days and telling these kids his type story, like, hey man, if you work hard, whatever, he's probably thinking that, and he's like, fuck, I did work hard, and now I'm licking this guy's wrist all the time.
And he knows he'll be punished. If he lets his pride come through, he knows John Lithgow is going to say, I'm going to take that pride and bury it right in your fucking face.
That's the kink, right? Is this destruction of anyone who has any joy.
Yeah.
Right? He's almost like this court jester. Like, he needs all the attention the whole movie. Because he does that a lot. A lot of it's just like him dancing and showing everyone that he can move and bump into them, and he just has full autonomy.
Like taking up space in the room, too. Like, he's the center of the fucking room.
He pushes everyone out of the dance floor. Like when you see those sharks swim through schools of fish and they just balloon out. That's what he's doing.
I think it's honestly just a good representation of like a grade school bully. Mm-hmm. He does all the same things.
Well, again, I had bullies in grade school. They weren't doing shit like this. They weren't like jerking me off with a doll, and I don't know if he was jerking him off or just squeezing.
Well, yeah, but you never had to sleep in a house with them for multiple.
That's not true, dude. Camp Tecumseh.
And no one ever tried to jerk you off with a puppet?
No one tried to jerk me off, dude. Well, there were some.
Your bullies
some
were
things
very.
thrown.
You should have went to Catholic camp.
Yeah, if you fell asleep first, people were definitely lobbing baseballs at your nuts while you were asleep.
Well, that's what I mean. It's
so you'd fall asleep first, you would wake up going, oh! It's like a baseball just
It seems like a very juvenile way to fuck with people.
But again, I think that's it. There is a childlike nature to the elderly when they get to this age, right? It is this kind of weird Benjamin Button, like from diapers to diapers.
Oh, yeah. Everybody reverts.
And so it does just become this kind of childish antagonism, right? Like, because Geoffrey Rush, there's that scene when John Lithgow's like up in his shit. And he just, it's like the most pathetic. He like flicks that spoon of yogurt. And it's like, oh, that's so sad, dude. Because he's like undressing him.
So childish, yeah.
He's like trying to use his like titanic intellect to like bring John Lithgow down a peg. And it just ends in like a... And you're like, oh, that's so fucking pathetic. It's so sad. That's what I mean. It's you just I think we feel like the characters in the movie, right? And again, one of the things I think this movie does exceptional is every cut is either like 5 seconds too fast or like 2 seconds too long.
Yeah.
So like you feel like you're always
disjointed.
Like the pacing of it is impeccable considering this disjointed idea of it.
Yeah, it's always keeping you on your toes. You can't quite figure out the movie.
We feel like we're having blips, right? Yeah. Where we're like, what did I miss? What's happening? Well, something occurred.
Even the construction of whose point of view are we in? Because we start in Geoffrey Rush. This is Geoffrey Rush's story, right? So, to the point where I wasn't even sure if Lithgow's character was a figment of Geoffrey Rush's imagination.
Right.
Really? Walk me through that a little more.
Well, there were just, you had those blip effects, and there were many times where we were in Geoffrey Rush's POV, and the one that comes to mind is he's talking to someone. There's another person across the table in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
And he loses track of time, and he looks up, and
everyone's gone.
Everyone's gone.
Yes, I remember
and
this.
And Lithgow's character is sitting across from him, taking his food or something.
And just kicking him in the shins, dude.
Yeah. Whoa. And so, when we start the movie, there is that scene where Lithgow almost kind of operates like an apparition. He rushes in, he throws the can of urine on
So that's
on him.
to me, that's the moment when the movie like started in earnest. Because I was like, wait, what the fuck is he doing? I was like, he just dumped piss on his.
I was actually in the bathroom for that scene, so I missed it.
Because you came back and we're like, he dumped piss on him. We had the theater to ourselves, which is a fucking crime. But again, he's out in the thing, and that's the other thing too, is he's out in the lobby like covered in piss in his like old man jammies.
And he's going off. He's like, how could you let this happen? This guy did this.
Yeah.
And then his roommate, the rugby player, we find
never
out.
seen him. He's pissing himself.
Yes.
He's like, what are you doing?
So we find out later that it's because that he would never rat on John Lithgow because of potential repercussions.
Yeah.
But I kind of read it at that moment like, well, are we playing around with perspective? Like,
is he pissing on himself?
Was he really pissing on himself?
There is something too with we open the movie with him judging this guy, right? Who's very much in that Lithgow mold. And we come back to that scene a couple times, like when he squashes the fly and there's blood everywhere. Jenny Penn's like a giant fucking floating head in the courtroom. So there is something that's anchoring him to like the last moment he was himself.
I think that's tying back to the taking responsibility for yourself.
Yeah.
I think that it keeps showing that courtroom because it's him remembering that he needs to do this. He needs to deal with the problem himself.
I think it is interesting because as the movie goes on, Lithgow kind of ramps up his attacks. Like the one scene that is the one you're just in the theater like, oh fucking come on, dude, is when he grabs that old lady who's like, my kids are coming. It's almost Christmas.
Yeah.
She's by the tree.
That's terrible. Yeah.
And he just says to her, he's like, you've been here for 5 years or 3 years, something like that. Like she's been here a long time. Like the kids are not coming to get her. And we just see this hopeful lady and he's like, your kids are outside. I saw them. And he walks her outside and lets her out into the world. And she's just like, my kids, and waddles off. Yeah. And it's such a fucking soul crushing moment. Because you're like, God damn it, she got what she wanted, which is to get out. When they cut to her, because he lets her have his key.
Face down in the swamp.
She's in that swamp, and he's like trying to find her, and he's fucking having an asthma attack. But just the way her body has no dignity. She's just face down in that mud. Because she wanted to go have Christmas with her kids. That's what I mean. The people who don't think this is a fucking, like, horror film are out of their fucking mind. That is such... And that's what I mean. We get a lot of horror movies today, and I think we at Misfit Parade are very guilty of this too. We go for a lot of like shock value and splashy moments and, kind of childish gags. That's one of those scenes. You're like, that is someone's fucking grandmother. Like someone is getting the call on Christmas Eve that their mom was found face dead down in a pond. Right? And it's so fucking horrifying. And I'm always impressed with horror movies that can get so much fucking impact out of such a simple moment as that. We don't see anything. We don't see the struggle, nothing. It's just like she didn't matter enough to even watch her struggling.
Yeah.
And it just reinforces all these themes. And that this movie to me just has such next level storytelling compared to so much of the shit I watch all the time.
Well, because you're kind of conflicted too, because you're worried you want John Lithgow to get his key card back. Or you want him to get caught.
What? You wanted him to... No, I wanted him to die at the side of the swamp.
Well, no, because I want the movie to keep going. So,
okay, I'm with you on that.
So I'm like, is he gonna get it back? Is someone gonna see him?
Yeah.
No one's gonna see him. He's gonna get it. Okay.
Yeah, he'll be all right. He's just in there with his fucking old man ass in the shower. But in the same
scene...
He's like, that was a close one.
In the same scene, like at the bottom of the screen, there's this dead old lady, and you, for instance, are thinking about her kids finding out about it.
Yeah, dude, I'm fucking... Again, everything in this movie was just... what do the young people say? Triggering, right? Like I don't feel like I've had a lot of time in my life to say triggering. This movie had me feeling like I had asthma. Like I was fucking freaking out watching this movie. It really, and again, I think to me that's the most effective scene in the whole movie because it really does just sell this like when someone puts you in that place, you're on a clock, and it's almost like people want you to just fucking, all right, come on, hurry it up.
Well, and it's like, that is what happens. Dude, I mean,
so my mother-in-law's mom, her and her husband went into one of those because he was a guy who was always a hard worker, this and that. He was trying to like mow his yard. He fucking caught this field on fire, like a huge field that could have gobbled up them. He got lost in the field. Like all these houses were in danger. Whoa. And it was one of those, like, they can't live on their own.
Yeah.
And they went to this home. It was a fucking nice-ass nursing facility. To me, again, I don't live there. You're just like, oh, this looks nice. They had good brochures. The ladies were really friendly. I mean, that was like, it was fast after that. Like, they felt that loss of their home so dramatically. And I think there's something with elderly people too. You take them out of the environment, they are safe, and they built their whole fucking life. Like, they had their kids there, raised their kids, their grandkids came, their great grandkids came to that house. Then you just put them in this new place, so they're already having mental struggles. Now they're in a new place. Now they're not seeing their friends and family all the time, and it was just a.
I was honestly shocked how fast my grandmother went. She was in there for a matter of weeks, and basically it was, she wouldn't eat.
Yeah, it's the worst.
She couldn't eat, and she was having night terrors, and they would give her morphine. Morphine's the secret weapon in these places.
It's fucking
it just expedites it.
Because some of them go fast, but then you're like, is that
I'm
way
excited
worse?
About that part though.
Yeah,
I mean, I would want it too.
Would be like roommates, like
dude. Okay, yeah. So I know we're all getting depressing shit right now, but
morphine's on the way.
The upside to living in a nursing home,
sex, dude, lots of it.
Well, that's the unknown part. But
dude, it's known. I've been researching. They're throwing it down in there.
But just imagine, well, like other than John Lithgow being there, like that specific one.
Who is he smashing?
Well, that's the thing. He's more into getting his wrist hole licked.
Yeah.
But I was like, I think there are other guys in these places that are like John Lithgows that are like, finally, motherfuckers.
Or he's like more of a jerking off in the corner type guy.
Oh, dude, with the doll.
With the doll.
And he's like, watch Jenny Penn do work.
But yeah, I don't think it'll be that bad, especially for our generation, because we have video games and all this cool shit.
You think we'll just revert back to like our teenage years? We'll just be fucking.
Well, the thing is, man,
playing Halo.
It used to suck to be a child because all you had was blocks and stuff. So you see all these 88-year-olds,
and you were working in a factory by the time you're 8.
So you see you see all the like Geoffrey Rush is playing with blocks and stuff. We'll be playing with like Xboxes.
Dude, we'll have robot servants. Yeah. We might be buying robotic wives before you know it. They're coming with me to the nursing home.
This is going to very drastically become a period piece very quickly.
Because you think in the future we'll be like, God, that was so barbaric. Now we'll love these utopias.
Yeah, you put this next to Companion.
Yeah, I'm bringing my companion with me.
They'll probably have companions. They'll have state-sponsored companions.
Yeah, the companion will just like when it kisses you, it will release Blue Chew into your bloodstream, so you'll be hard. It knows exactly how fast it goes, so my heart doesn't explode. It sounds like a dream. Jenny Penn's full of shit.
It can monitor you, make sure you don't catch on fire as well.
There you go.
Yeah, dude, don't start a brush fire on me. That would be bad. It's got like little, like the tits can squeeze out like anti-fire stuff.
I wanted to bring up another point too, like while we're on this, putting old folks in retirement homes.
Yeah.
Is it okay? Like just generally speaking.
Because this is the thing. What do you do?
Yeah. So what's the alternative?
Like me and my wife have 2 kids. We both work, right? Do you have enough time to give good care? Do you have enough money to pay for an in-home nurse at your house?
Exactly.
Here's my thought process.
A lot of these people need 24/7 access to medical professionals.
Well, I know, but so does a baby, right?
A baby's way easier to deal with, I'm guessing, because they don't also go, back in my day. And they also can't wander. Like, you just put a baby in a crib, it's in that fucking crib.
Like a toddler, like some kids require 24-hour...
No, kids are needy little bitches too.
Okay, so then,
but not like this.
Like what you're saying is it's like a circle. You revert back to being a kid, right?
My grandma went into one of these with dementia. She lasted like another 6 to 7 years.
Yeah, but if you think about it, all kids have dementia.
All kids had.
All little kids have dementia. They have the same symptoms. They just say crazy shit all the time.
That's true. You change their diapers
too.
Right.
So it's looked down. Like if you were to just give up your kid, if you put your kid in an orphanage, people would be like, "What the fuck?"
Like a young folks home.
But on the alternate route, if you put your mom in an old folks home, they'd be like, "Good for you. You're taking charge of your life." It's like a weird.
I don't know what point you're making, but I feel like I'm with you.
I feel like it's a weird dichotomy.
I feel like I'm going to be editing this later and be like, "No, I'm not."
It's just a weird dichotomy. It's a weird dichotomy in our minds that.
Yeah, you leave your baby at the fire department, you're a villain.
Yeah. But if you put your mom in a home, you're taking charge of your life.
Son.
You're like society. Wow. Society doesn't look down on you, but in the same sense, like she took care of you when you were a baby.
Well,
like,
this is the thing.
Why aren't you taking care of her when she needs you?
You choose to have kids most of the time. You don't choose to have an aging grandma.
Yeah, but if she did take care of you,
but it is more
and gave
work.
You life.
It is more work to care for an adult. I mean,
yeah, and also most babies don't have like huge medical needs.
I've never done
they
either.
They just need milk and sleep and diapers, and they're pretty good.
Yeah, but I feel like old people would probably be good with that.
No, you can't just pop your tit in an old person's mouth when they've got like heart problems.
Well, give them their pills.
Yeah, wash it down.
I mean, what does a nurse actually do?
I mean, I've been asking my wife that for years. Like, what do you do?
I mean, they basically
what do you do
they're
for
basically
society?
Mothers, right?
Why am I looked down on as a podcaster? This is unbelievable.
You're basically wiping asses, you know. You're doing all the same stuff.
It's true.
So why are we okay with putting old people?
You know what, Sam?
Such a weird tangent.
Sam, you should go volunteer at one of these facilities.
I'm not going to volunteer to take care of kids either. I'm not doing any. I'm
saying
just,
you should do a weekend in a daycare.
I'm posing the
and
question.
a weekend at an old folks home, and then you report back.
I will never have any kids, nor will I rely on my kids to take care of me when I'm old. I'm just.
You'll just rely on my kids to take care of you.
Hopefully.
So
Damn,
you're really trying to get the best
I'm
of all
getting in
worlds.
with
I
them
might
right now.
I might have to start playing more Madden with Hunter.
Yeah, you
too.
play Madden with my kids. So you're like, I'm taking
There's
care of
a
Uncle
reason,
Sam. Yeah.
But that's just it's just a thought that popped into my head when I was thinking about this
Yeah.
movie. I was like, why is that okay, but the other thing's not okay? You know.
I feel like the easy answer to this will come to me in like an hour.
Well, the easy answer is like, oh, I can't take care of my parents. I have to keep my career and stuff, right? But the same thing could be said for a
Well,
kid.
if you don't keep your career, how are you going to pay for all this medical shit?
I know, but if you don't keep your career, how are you going to pay to raise your kid? It's the same fucking thing.
Damn, is he right? We'll know by the time this comes out tomorrow if Sam's right or not.
It's just like a reverse.
Wow. I mean, he intellectually fucking tapped me out right now. I don't really.
Well, one of the decisions we were trying to come to with my grandmother was we didn't know how long this was going to go. It could have been indefinite. It could have been like your grandmother. It could have been 6 years with a kid. You know,
It's going to end eventually.
Eventually, they're going to
as
hit
a
a new
rapper
phase.
we used to like, who now we can't mention, man. She got one of your kids, got you for 18 years.
Not to be dark, but it's going to end with your grandparents eventually too. You know.
Well, Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah, God, this is unbearable. We're supposed to be here for escape.
What else do you have on that piece of paper there?
Yeah,
Sam?
what other fucking brain busters do you have on your paper?
Well, I can't read most of it.
Oh, shit.
I
We
was-
need Geoffrey rushing right now.
My theory for the movie was the entire movie is about empathy.
Empathy.
The entire movie is about seeing that people need help.
Isn't that every movie?
Maybe.
Whoa. We just cracked it, dude. We don't have to have cinema anymore.
Anti-socialism, we already went over that. Nothing in life.
Should we be able to abandon our kids? And empathy.
The thing that hit home for me was like, my entire life, I keep thinking like, eventually things are going to get easy.
Yeah.
Like eventually everything's going to make sense to me, right?
Yeah.
And this movie showed me, like at least the director, writers, thoughts that it never gets easier.
No.
I do feel like I'm hitting
constant
that age
struggle.
now where I've just given up hope
The
that
conflict.
anything will ever make sense.
There's always going to be conflict. You can't plan it out.
It's that comedian I saw on TikTok who's just like, do you ever look around and be like, we just invented all this shit.
Yeah.
And we picked the worst version of all of it. And I was like, yeah,
Maybe.
see, that makes sense to me. You're like, why does everything suck so much when it's all made
The
up?
scary thought is, what if we picked the best version?
Damn. Dude, Sam's really bringing me
Yeah.
down today.
That's the terrifying
I'm
thought.
not enough White Claws
Like,
deep.
how much worse could it get, you know?
Damn, I hope I don't find out.
Yeah.
But this is a scary ass movie. It really is.
Well, okay, so we haven't gotten to things start escalating between the guys fighting, right? He goes in and steals and like blows out all the inhalers, right? He thinks he's got
yeah, that was great.
he thinks he's got John Lithgow.
Geoffrey Rush, yeah.
Yeah, he thinks he's got him, right? Because he's getting a bath and he's like spraying all the shit. John Lithgow, and he crawls out. It looks like he's died. But the movie keeps playing. You're like, what are we doing here? The movie's over, right? What's going on? Of course, John Lithgow comes back, right? And what we see is Geoffrey Rush has now gone into this like full isolation room, right? His problems are getting worse. He finally licks the asshole. He finally licks Jenny Pinn's asshole.
He's finally been broken down because
I was shocked at this moment that he finally was so fucking beaten down by all of this. He kind of took his swing at the dragon and failed.
yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, is this movie going to end with Geoffrey Rush just licking ass and being like, all right, I don't know what's happening anymore. Because he kind of goes stone cold for a little section here of the movie. And we think the movie's just going to end like, John Lithgow just won.
There's like 3 false endings to the movie.
Yeah. Well, I think that's
funny.
another thing that plays really scary in an old folks home, right? Is that you could just cut this at any moment. And you're like, that could be the tail.
And the story would completely change depending on the moment you cut it.
Yeah. Because, okay, so I want to ask, what did you guys make of the finale, right? Because essentially the finale is that Geoffrey Rush was playing coy, right? So he licked the asshole not as a bending the knee, but as a kind of lowering the defenses of John Lithgow, right? They lure him into this laundry room that they met in before.
I didn't think about it that way, but that's
and
a good point.
And the two of them jump John Lithgow, who's injured now, right? And they fucking suffocate this guy to death. And I will say the thing that jumps out at you at this scene is how kind of pathetic it all is. Like how feeble these guys are.
It's all they could do.
It's weird. Like John Lithgow's been mostly pretty mechanically overpowering to these guys. He has one little injury. He's fucking lame too. Yeah. Like Geoffrey Rush like dives out of his fucking wheelchair like it's when they faked injuries in WWE in the past and is smothering him with all these blankets. The rugby player's holding his legs and is crying. Like he's just kind of crying at like the weight of it all, his body not working. Yeah. It's pathetic, but it's a weird choice for me that this movie ends in a physical altercation. What did you guys make of this?
I thought it was a good climax in the sense that he has regained control of his life.
I thought it was...
But is this the life he wants, though? Because now he's a murderer outside of the system.
Well, look, I think I said it out loud while that happened. I was like, if I had 6 months best to live, I'd fucking kill this guy, too. I'm not going to spend the remaining... weeks of my life under the thumb of this terrorist.
Yeah, I would sharpen a broom and just full speed wheelchair and harpoon his ass.
Yeah, I wouldn't have killed him like that. I would have tried to make it better.
Whatever works.
Yeah. No, but dude, I think I'm demented, but I would have tried to kill him a lot sooner, I feel like.
Oh, the first time he's fucking trying to make me lick the puppet and squeezing my roommate's nuts off, I'd be like, it's him or me.
Well, but he did try to kill him by disabling his inhaler.
He's already in jail.
On the flip side, though, I might be so out of my mind on morphine, I wouldn't care.
Yeah, I'll lick Jenny Penn's asshole. Yeah. Bring it on.
This is a fun story.
Yeah. Well, it's a bucket list item for me. My generation didn't lick ass, so
I will become your underling, and we will bully together. How about that? We'll do all
we're gonna run. We're like, what is it, Bulk and Skull from the Power Rangers, just running around terrorizing our nursing home.
I'll get a slightly smaller puppet.
I'm in.
Yeah.
We're gonna fucking morphine it up and just beat up socialists. That's our retirement plan. I don't know. I thought it was weird, this kind of loss of body mental exercise ending in a fight. But I think because the fight is so feeble and pathetic,
it works.
There's a desperation to it that I think really sells the stakes of this moment. And that's pretty much it. Like the movie just we just watched Jenny Penn burn. Right? Which again made me think I feel like there's more I want to learn about this puppet. If that's like the image you're leaving me on, right? Because we start with a trial about violated children.
Right.
And then the last thing we see is a melting doll, like a children's doll. I was like, I felt like there was something there that I should have gleaned that just never congealed for me. But the ride itself is so fucking immaculately crafted. I also was just excited to get out of the theater. You know what I mean? Like I was just like,
you're just like, please end it. Yes,
and how long?
If this movie was 75 minutes, that would have been also fine with me because this is a brutal fucking watch.
How long was it? It was a brisk.
It was an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, it was great. Oh God, can we please bring that back? We were just doing Mickey 17. It was just like, will this movie end?
It's the new thing that prestige directors are doing is they want to do like the 2.5 to 3.5 hour movie.
But Soderbergh just did
knock it off.
Soderbergh just did Black Bag at a crisp 94 minutes.
Dude, I'm telling you,
and it was
every movie
immaculate.
would benefit by being 90 minutes long.
Oh, absolutely.
Almost I'm sure someone's going to be like, Lawrence of Arabia. And I'm like, yeah, there's some duplicate scenes. Maybe not 90.
Yeah.
But you could cut 30 minutes out of Lawrence of
There
Arabia.
are places for that.
Do you have Braveheart 1 and a Braveheart 2?
I'm just saying, I don't think that most of those movies feel like the extra hour is kind of more masturbatory. Then it's not always like really, and that's the thing, those movies have these like long points where like I'm sagging as an audience. It's almost like now they're filling me with information so I can calm down so they can do the next thing, right? This one never lets you go.
Yeah.
And I just always prefer the movie that's tighter and just will not let you up for air, right? Like you're really sunk into the headspace. And again, just the fact that like Geoffrey Rush and John Lithgow are just two of the best actors of that generation. Like, just unbelievable talents that we don't get a lot of in horror movies. You really don't get a lot of performers at this level, especially at the end of their career, who have all the fucking tricks getting to do this.
I mean, Lithgow is an all-time villain.
Actor. Oh, my God.
I mean, he's had
this might
bangers.
be better than the Trinity Killer in Dexter. Like, he was incredible in that show. He was so fucking scary in that. I think this is his best villain role.
let's see, what is there? What was the De Palma movie? Raising Cain. There's that.
yeah.
There's Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger, come on. I mean, that's funny. Cliffhanger, you can't take anything too seriously.
I mean, he is so
He's pretty good at
fascinating that he can go both ends of the spectrum. He can be absolutely villainous and creepy and just
and then he's like on what was it, Third Rock from the Sun.
can play
He's
an
like
alien.
goofy
Third Rock from
alien
the Sun.
sitcom
Yeah.
dad.
Dude, he
Or-
was the British guy.
Harry and the Hendersons.
That's what I was thinking. Harry and the Hendersons. Yeah.
He was the British general guy that everyone loves. World War One.
British general.
Yeah, he played that dude in The
you're
Crown.
losing me at World War One history.
Oh, I don't
he
know.
was in
Oh,
The
in
Crown.
The
I
Crown?
remember
Winston
that.
Churchill. He played Winston
He
fucking
did play
Churchill,
Churchill,
dude.
yeah.
World War II, but yeah.
Well, he was in both wars, bro.
It was Sam's fault. It was Sam's fault. Well, yeah,
War
he
II,
was
he was
like
a general.
48 at that point. He was still clubbing.
Yeah, he was a young man in The Crown.
Yeah.
He also was Roger Ailes, all-time
Oh, yeah,
villain.
dude. He can do anything. Yeah.
That was probably good training for this role. Lick me, asshole. But it is. He's one of those. He's like the great actor that I feel like we never talk about. And then you see him in something, you're like, oh, fuck yeah, John Lithgow.
Yeah.
Like, he's just the man, but I feel like you never hear him brought up with, like, best actors of that generation. Because I think through a lot of that, right, we're getting these, like, Gene Hackmans, De Niro, Pacino. And I don't know how close all these guys are in age generationally.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like Gene Hackman just took all those movies that could have been awesome Lithgow roles.
Yeah.
Because I was reading a little bit
Probably true.
after Gene Hackman died, and they're like, one of the sneaky things about him was he had this physicality.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he looks like an every guy. He's not, like, puffed up and built. But he was a pretty big guy.
Yeah.
Like, compared to, like, a lot of actors. Like, he had size and, like, looked like
Oh, he was so great
he
in
would
The
throw it
Firm,
down.
where he's
Yeah.
like throwing his bravado around in
Yeah,
The
and
Firm.
this guy's
That's
like
perfect.
6'3" or 4. Like, he's a big
Yeah.
fucking guy. I don't know. I think John Lithgow is just the best. And again, Geoffrey Rush has never been... He does a lot of those kind of movies that aren't my kind of movies.
Yeah.
But he's fucking incredible, too.
Oh, he was
and just
so
watching
good.
these two battle, it's like...
good.
Like, what kind of Shudder movie are you getting where you've ever been able to see that? Even the best Shudder movies, there's no Shudder movie that's had two actors of this caliber in it.
So, what are the all-time old people horror films?
Old people horror movies? Oh my god! I mean, weirdly,
can't
I
think
always
of-
think of like The Changeling with George.
George C. Scott. That's a
but
great one.
That movie really has nothing to do with him being old.
And he's not
Because the theory
that
is he's
old.
lost his wife
Yeah.
and his young kid.
Young kid. He could have been
But he
40.
looks old in that.
Yeah.
But people also aged a lot faster back
Yeah.
then, I think. I don't... But see, that's what I'm saying. I was like, what are the best? Taking a Deborah Logan is fucking terrifying,
Yeah, that's a good
right?
one. The Visit.
That's like the Visit. See, I love that movie. A lot of people are like, "This is lame. It's Shyamalan."
Oh, I like that movie a
That
lot.
movie is fucking rad, man. But again, that's two grandparents that turn evil.
But it's also through the children's perspective.
Right. It's like, grandma and grandpa are kind of weird, but they're old. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it's just like, God, when he smears that diaper on that kid's face, that movie's wild. My kids fucking love that movie. But that's what I mean. It's like, what are the 5 best old people horror movies? It's hard to even think about. And it feels like, to me, I think that's scarier than teenage shit, because you're still young and strong and virile, right? Everything about being old scares the shit out of me. And maybe it's
But
a
dying
genre I'm
young is
just
way
aging
scary.
into.
I feel like dying.
Sure, dying young is way scarier.
I feel like there's more at stake.
But you also believe those kids should be able to save themselves. I think this is the, like, people in horror movies make stupid choices. Right?
Yeah.
But, like, when you're old, like, what do you
It doesn't matter what choice you make. It's
But,
what
yeah.
you can do.
Being old and emasculated
I gotta step away
and
for a second. Ooh.
just completely like...
Sam's leaving the show. All right, so I'm pulling it up. Best old people horror movies. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane
Oh, right.
is the one. That's a really good one. Sunset Boulevard kind of
that's-
plays like that.
Kind of. She's not that old, though. I mean, she's really
So
just
look,
sort of...
there's this creepy old people. So they have X.
Yeah.
X is pretty good on that account. Rosemary's Baby. But that's not Drag Me to Hell, but that's like an old lady.
None of them are the primary characters.
And the horror is not based in them being old,
Yeah.
right? They're just scary old actors.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has Don't Breathe, Barbarian. Like, these are not the fears and horrors of being old.
Correct.
This is just,
I
scary
mean,
old lady.
really, like Cocoon is probably closer to...
Yeah, but see, that's
horror
not
film.
even, that's just like look, they're all getting young again. And you're like, I'd make that deal.
Or maybe the Kick the Can, the Twilight Zone, the movie, Spielberg.
Yeah. See, that's what I think being at the end of your run, to me, heightens the horror. Because your time is so precious. You have so much left. Like when Neve Campbell survived Scream, you're like, she might have like 60 more years.
Yeah.
Like she's okay. She'll get some therapy. She'll probably get over it. Oh, it's going to keep happening to her over and over. That's not great. Studios are going to underpay her. This is terrifying. But you're like, those kids should like be able to like move on. If you're an old person, you're like, dude, I've got 3 good years left. And someone's coming for you.
And it's a matter of perspective, too. I mean, going back to how we kind of opened this conversation. Yeah, if I'm watching My Life, when I watched it, and I see Macaulay Culkin get taken down by bees, I'm like, what the fuck? That can happen? A kid can... Macaulay Culkin can die? I'm Macaulay Culkin.
Dude, you remember being young the first time seeing Pet Sematary? And you're just like, wow!
Yeah, any of those. But, like the witches? I can be turned into a fucking mouse?
But see, that's what I mean. Other than witches, that's like our classic scary old lady. Like the hag trope.
Yeah.
Other than that, this is such under.
But that's why I think there aren't that many examples of these, because no studio is trying to appeal now to an audience that's geriatric. So
I'm telling you, they're gonna be there, guys. They're good. And again, I don't know what the box office on this, so maybe I was dead wrong. Also, I feel like I never saw a trailer for this movie. So like I kind of went in and I just knew it was John Lithgow and Geoffrey Rush. I had no idea what this movie was. I saw no marketing for this. I was just like, oh, a Shudder movie. I went to Shudder and they're like, no, it's at theaters. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, cool, let's go see it. I had no fucking idea that this movie existed.
See, that's what
I think the box office, it's kind of unfair to judge a movie that had 0 marketing dollars behind it.
I don't know if it had 0. My sister had somehow heard of it.
Well, I think we hear about shit through osmosis on the internet now. I think that's every executive's dream, right? Is you get all the word of mouth just from like online for free. But I had nothing about it.
As
I
far
do
as
this all the time. I had no idea what
there
this
was no marketing spin significantly.
It doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. For your old people movies marketed towards old people, I think it's going to change with our generation.
I think we consume so much media. We're going to be a valuable market.
I think we're going to be. I just think that the boomers are not a valuable market.
We're also the last generation that's still nostalgic for movie theaters.
Yeah.
So we might have even increased value as we start getting older.
Well, elderly audiences are huge business. I mean, just look at any of the ads that go on Fox News. Right. I take it back. I did see a horror movie aimed at the elderly just yesterday, and it was a TikTok that was a MAGA haunted house.
I saw that one.
Did you see that? Yeah, it's just like people speaking Spanish and going to abortion clinics. But,
they're probably like, that's terrifying.
Wait, this is a real movie, or
no? It was a TikTok. But
like all of our uncles walking through there, Jesus Christ!
But I mean, like my grandparents never went to horror movies when they were young, anyway. So it's you might be right.
That's what I'm
movies
saying.
Were like Dracula and the Wolfman and shit.
So you have movies like Philomena or whatever that are the types of movies that they.
There's a lot of old
young.
people having like their great last vacation movies, right? Like the last great trip with the family. Yeah, I think this is ripe. I think people should be really looking at also who are those great actors that just aren't getting utilized as much. Christopher Walken's begging for roles. He's right there.
How much is he charging though? That's what I want to know.
He probably is still like, I want the same rate.
It's like you're old, man. Like,
well, he came from the era they were probably making like $7,000 a movie, and he's like, Jesus Christ, I'm rich.
What's that movie with Robert Redford?
He probably was back then.
Yeah, that's right.
What's that Redford movie where he's out on his boat?
The capside
That's one.
That's a great one.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he just sinks at the end.
Yeah.
Great.
But that's what I mean. So many, like Demi Moore right now is like a great example of this. A lady who had been, like, that's kind of an old person horror movie, right? The Substance. Because it's about a woman who's aging out of.
Well, she's like middle-aged, maybe. Yeah.
I think she's like 60 in real life. She just looks
60.
like she's
is she
our
really?
age. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But that's what I mean. That's kind of an old person horror film.
Yeah.
But we're getting to this point where there are all these actors that have skill and have been in the fucking wars that are just there. I'm telling you, I'm for a huge wave of this, even though it's too scary for me. Like, there are very few horror movies that scare me at all. This one really got me a lot.
It was really unsettling.
I don't know that I liked it better than Companion, but I was like, this is easily the second best horror movie I've seen of the year, if not first. Because honestly, Companion is more goofy to me. Like, I didn't really feel like I was in a horror movie. I felt like I was in an awesome comedy.
That's true. It's the definition of horror has really broadened as well.
Right, because I think there's a lot of... I think we had a film professor, right? And he said... I had a genre studies class. And he's like, most genres... It's kind of a silly argument because most have elements of everything. Mm-hmm. Like great stories have comedy and drama and horror, right? This and that. Sci-fi and fantasy kind of have worlds that set them apart. But even those have comedy and drama and all that. Like the idea of genre is such a limiting,
and
silly
Companion
way to
is a sci-fi comedy in many aspects.
Yeah. It's also scary as fuck too.
Yeah.
Right? Like it has scary ideas.
It's also a much newer thing to broach like as a subject. Mm-hmm. Whereas what we just watched with Ginny Penn is the classic tale, basically.
Yeah.
Of losing control of your body.
Well, it's just any
losing
monster
control of your
movie,
life, essentially.
Like John Lithgow's no different than any slasher.
Right.
Than Frankenstein, like whatever, a Wolfman, like it's all the classic.
I think he's different because he's more real.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what makes this scary to me.
It's terrifying.
Because a lot of people, like my wife, thinks the scariest movie ever is The Strangers.
Yeah.
Because she's like, oh my God. And I was like,
yeah.
Cool. I would just be like, I'd be in that room and I'd be like, well, I shot my best friend. That sucks. I'm not coming out.
Yeah.
I'm still going to sit here and guard this room and I'll fucking deal with his funeral later.
Right.
I'm not coming out because I made one mistake.
There are a number of people that pray that The Strangers happens to them.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
We're in Indiana, dude.
We're in Indiana.
Don't strangers here in Indiana. You're just gonna see white dudes with erections and guns. That's
you
what you're
come in my
walking
house?
in on.
Well, that's like when we did the pod on the werewolves. It's like, oh, finally the werewolf.
Yeah. Woo! Finally!
Full moon is happening. Let's do this. No, nobody wishes for when they're having to fend off a bully. And again, like going back to your earlier point
nobody wants that.
of this is a full circle from your childhood. I haven't had to deal with a bully like that since I was a kid, but I remember having bullies when I was a kid like that.
Feeling, yeah.
And having to deal with that when you are at the end of your life.
When you're the most enfeebled,
You're supposed to be getting your reward. You're supposed to be relaxing.
This movie got me. I think it's incredible. All right. We have to end the show with everyone picking their most messed up moment. Do you want to go first, Sam? Or do you want Heath to go first?
Ooh. I think my messed up moment and the moment that like cemented the movie for me was when the dude caught on fire. Because I was like,
the old dude.
It was fucked up.
The old dude dropping his dart.
I didn't know what this movie was going to be. And then when that happened, I was like, oh, this is going to be a different type of movie.
It just all unlocked.
Yeah.
Also, I think everyone who's a heavy drinker and smoker, we've all done that.
And the way they shot it too was very kind of. There was that slow zoom in on Geoffrey Rush. The
and he's
flames
just trying
in the
to talk and he can't do anything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It just encapsulated the entire movie.
Yeah. Heath, what was the most messed up moment?
For me, the most messed up moment was when Geoffrey Rush is in his therapy session and he's trying to do the instruction of putting the clock hands where they belong. And he turns the paper around to the therapist.
With that condescending look like
I got this.
He's like, I'm about ready to go home.
And it's just all
bullshit.
like jacked up and doesn't make any sense. And we realize that he is not in control of his own mind. Yeah. And then the therapist hands him the damn puppet therapy pamphlet.
Have you thought about puppeteering? And he's like, bitch, I can't even draw a clock. What are you talking about?
The dignity is just destroyed.
The fact that we lost Geoffrey Rush and John Lithgow battling each with a puppet on their hand is a big miss. I agree. Yeah. The most messed up moment in the movie, again, this is kind of when it all congealed for me. We were like, oh my God, was when he's trying to break the judge and John Lithgow's messing with the rugby guy and he starts yanking that fucking catheter.
That was rough.
I felt that in my bones. That was so horrible.
Felt then that right in my urethra.
And squeezes his fucking nuts. And it's kind of like, is he jerking him off? Is he squeezing his nuts off? It was horrifying after the catheter. And then puts the puppet, bends her over and is like, lick her asshole. And I was just like, this is not the movie I thought I was walking into. This is going places I did not know old people had to fear. And now that's just something I have to live with for the rest of my life. I mean, honestly, there's probably like 10 moments. Yeah. It's also the fact that we kind of mentioned it, but the old woman in the pond, right? The fact that they kill John Lithgow at the end. There's so many how about when John Lithgow's trying to pull that lady's tits out? Is her blind husband is just screaming and facing the wrong direction. And just listening to this and can't help. There's so many moments in this that could be the most messed up moment for whoever watches.
And even, if you're asthmatic like I am.
Oh my God, yeah.
Lithgow can't get the inhaler to work.
Yeah, he went through like 10 of those. And it's just,
I mean, I know he's the villain, but if you've been in that situation.
Well, if you just saw that clip online and didn't know all the shit he'd done, you'd be like, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Who's not protecting this nice older gent? Yeah, I don't know, man. I
Also,
thought
just keep them in your pocket,
that's true. Well, he was in the shower. He'd have to keep it in his prison wallet.
I think you got to.
And then I don't know if you'd want to put it in your mouth after
do
that.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to die? Everyone's licking your asshole, dude.
I'm just saying, if you're the bully, you got to be a little bit smarter.
Yeah, and maybe
got arrogant.
tougher.
He was
you
arrogant.
can't be afraid of butt
He's a
stuff,
little
dude.
arrogant,
Yeah. That's it for the Rule of Jenny Penn. We hope you loved it as much as we did. If you haven't caught it in the theater, it will be on Shudder, I think, by the end of the month. So it'll be coming out soon. Make sure you do not miss this movie.
I can't wait to watch it again.
I know. I'm very excited to show it to my wife because she has like a weird, like she thinks every old person's the cutest thing ever. And I was like, boy, I can't wait to inflict this movie
John
upon
Lithgow's
you.
not cute at all.
No, they went to extra lengths. They gave him the dreamy eyes and the fucking European style teeth, and it's like, oh god. But, sorry, Europe. You've been through a lot from Americans. We're sorry.
I think it's just England, by the way.
Yeah,
Not
the rest of you are
all
cool. I'm just kidding. Guys, make sure you go subscribe to the Misfit Parade YouTube so you don't miss any of the stuff we're working on over there. We're on all the socials, TikTok, Instagram. We have shorts from the pod and other stuff we're working on there. Please go find that. Go to misfitparade.com to keep track of our movie, Mr. Cream Jean's Hidey Hole, as we continue to make our first feature film. That would be awesome. 5-star ratings and reviews. Most importantly, please send this to a friend. Send any one of our many episodes or clips to a movie-loving friend and help us grow this thing. 5-star ratings, reviews. Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon if you want to join our community and get more awesome stuff. Black Mirror, the new season is coming. That's probably the hottest thing on the Patreon right now. We will see you Wednesday for another Messed Up Movie.